What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, happy Friday. Happy Friday. We did it. We made it to the end of another week in our lives. And I hope you all had a fantastic week. I did. I hope you all did as well as we head into the weekend. Welcome to Quita in the Mornings. My name is Quita. We are in the mornings and we are talking about some women's hoops. So if that is of interest to y'all, make sure to turn on your sound a little bit higher and let's talk about the game. All right. So in this stream, as you all know, I kind of have themes for streams, and in this stream is it's titled "When Players Speak Out for a Reason," and we're going to talk about 3 stories of players speaking out in their own words and letting us know specifically what they think about various things. Okay? Because here's the deal, guys. When players speak, we're listening. We are listening to what they have to say. There has been a shift in women's college basketball in particular. Players are not waiting for coaches. They are not waiting for the media. They are speaking for themselves, raw, direct, with no filters. And today we are diving in to 3 stories, 3 players who decided to take to the mic and take to an interview and tell their side of things. For Komi McMiller, she's talking about transferring out of Rutgers and betting big on herself at Penn State. For Flaw Johnson, she's telling us why she decided to stay at LSU, but making it clear that she has certain expectations for next season. And for Myia Wild, the story that just keeps continuing. She set the record straight after her shocking transfer announcement and maybe hinting on TikTok at what is next for her. So, if you care about the game, you care about what specifically players have to say in their own words. So, let's get to it. All right? Let's get to these stories. And first, let's actually start off with Komi McMiller. All right, because Komi McMiller is, I would say, one of the most electrifying and possibly polarizing players in college basketball. Komi McMiller has fantastic handles, fantastic flair, and this past season, it was just a whole lot of a lot. When Komi McMiller was at her best, she was killing, right? She was absolutely someone who was making buckets for Rutgers. She was, I would say, probably the best player on Rutgers. This past season, she averaged 18.7 points a game, 4.7 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game. However, she wasn't on the court all the time because there were games that she did not play in. She only played in 21 of Rutgers games this year, and there was a whole lot of stuff that was happening. She didn't play in as many games. She posted about her coach on social media. People were talking about what in the world is going on at Rutgers, and now she is gone. Komi McMiller hit the transfer portal and kind of shocked people by landing at Penn State, a team that was worse than Rutgers this past year. Like, Penn State was trash. Also, Penn State basically lost their entire roster. So, what is the story? Why in the world did Komi McMiller choose to leave, especially for a team that's actually worse than Rutgers? Well, let's hear it specifically from Komi McMiller. Because, again, players' words. Players have to share their opinions in their own words. So we're going to get to it. So first, I do want to give a huge shout out to Brandon Robinson, Scoop B, for writing an article where he actually had an interview with Komi McMiller and he wrote about it. So shout out to him. He is the person who has the scoop on this, and his article is an article that I reference quite a bit in this story. So I'm gonna drop a link to his story in the comments. All right, so I just dropped a link to Scoop B's story about Komi McMiller, but we're gonna go through it as well. But again, highly recommend you all check out. The article. Okay, so let's get into Komi McMiller and what she had to say in this interview, because what she said was very, very interesting. All right, so Komi McMiller said that she wants to win. In the recent interview with Scoop B, Komi said, "I am a very aggressive person when it comes to winning. I'll say I want to win straight off the bat, and I feel like that wasn't the same for everybody else at Rutgers." And it's like, okay, interesting. She said everybody did not come to win or want to win or show that they wanted to win. And I came in every day showing that I wanted to do that. So again, part of the disconnect, according to Komi McMiller, was her drive to win at Rutgers. And basically she's saying that everybody else at Rutgers was not on her same level when it came to winning. All right? Because again, when it comes to winning, I would say I am a very aggressive person, and I'll say I want to win straight off the bat, and I feel like that wasn't the same for everybody else. Everybody didn't come to win or want to win or show that they wanted to win, and I came in every day showing that I wanted to do that. And so, okay, interesting from Komi McMiller. And she said she walked into practice every day with intensity, with purpose, and she wasn't seeing that same energy replicated around her. She even admitted that maybe because of that, it kind of rubbed some people the wrong way, her wanting to win. She said maybe it was intimidating to people to show them how much you want to win and how much you want to get better. So I think that was one of the reasons why stuff didn't go as well as it should have. So, okay. All right. So she wants to win so bad that it caused some strife between her and everybody else at Rutgers. Maybe that's the reason why stuff didn't go the way that she wanted it to go at Rutgers, because of her just sheer drive to win. Okay. So, with that being said, why Penn State? Why do you make the decision to go to Penn State? Well, she said that she has learned to evaluate. She's learned to evaluate where she goes and not just pick a school for basketball, but pick a place where she would be able to be her full, authentic self. And it begs the question, Komi says she only visited Penn State once, but fell in love with what she calls the realness of head coach Carolyn Kieger. She said just the aggressiveness, the willingness to win, and showing that they want to win just off the recruiting and the conversations and just being around her. And when you meet her, you can feel the vibe. Like, this is real. It's not a front. So this is Komi McMiller talking about the head coach of Penn State, Carolyn Kieger. Like, she's like, hey, this lady is the real deal. And she wants to win really bad. Like, this is really, really her. And she also talked about the fact that she had to get kind of convinced to even go to Penn State. It seemed like a joke, talked about the idea of not liking sharing a dorm room with, sharing dorm room bathrooms, and the fact that the players at Penn State they ended up living out of a dorm. And she said that her dad had to convince her to give the school another look, and that's when she fell in love with the school, and she talked about how it's a beautiful campus and how she is very, very happy with her decision. And it's like, okay. She has chosen Penn State because of the coach, because of the beautiful scenery, and because of the fact that she wants to win. All right.
If you think it could be serious, ask me to call emergency services or someone you trust.
No, Siri. Okay, y'all, sometimes I don't understand why Siri randomly picks up when I'm like, I don't even know. Excuse that. I don't even know if y'all heard that, but yeah, anyway. Okay. So she chose Penn State, a school that plays in the Big Ten, which means that she will be playing Rutgers next year. All right. And she's kind of excited about it. She said, I get to compete against and play against the people this past year and just show them and get a second chance or a second opportunity, I guess, to fully showcase who I am and really give them a better impression of who I am. So she's looking forward to. She is absolutely looking forward to having an opportunity to play her former team and be like, she's saying that she's going to try to show her former team up, right? She is going to show her former team up. And she's excited about it. She's very, very, very excited about it. But, so that is what Komi McMiller had to say. And again, I am very appreciative that we are able to hear directly from players. This is someone who knows that she has something to prove. And she is going to try to prove it next year with Penn State, especially in that game against Rutgers. But here's the deal. Everything Komi McMiller says makes sense in a vacuum. She says she wants to be where she's wanted. Makes sense. She says she wants to compete. Okay, makes sense. She says she wants to win. Okay. And she wants to basically shut people up and show people who she really is. However, there is a disconnect, in my opinion, with what Komi McMiller is saying and the reality of who Penn State is, because Penn State was a interesting choice. Penn State was the worst team in the Big Ten this past year. When it comes to the standings for the Big Ten, Penn State was at the bottom. All right? Penn State was at the bottom. This is a team that was one of 17. 1 win, 17 losses in conference play this past year. 1 win, 17 losses. Rutgers, they at least won 3 games in conference play. Rutgers was 3 of 15 in conference play. All right? So there was a lot of talk about winning. And absolutely, players want to win. Of course, you're playing to win, right? You're not just playing for cardio. You're playing to win. However, for all the talk about winning and how Rutgers just wasn't on your level when it comes to winning, and then you go to a team that won less than the team you was on, is interesting, right? In conference play, Penn State was 1 of 17. Overall, Penn State was 10 of 19 on the season. Rutgers, in conference play, 3 of 15. And overall, they were 13-20 on the season. Again, there is a bit of a disconnect that I don't totally understand for for Komi McMiller. And not only do we look at the fact that that Penn State was a team that lost a lot, right? So they're not actually winners, right? But also think about the fact that the majority of Penn State's players have left the team. Nine players on Penn State have left in the transfer portal this year. 9 players have recently left. Technically 8. 9 players entered the transfer portal. 8 of those players have found a new squad. There was one player in Myia Wild who withdrew she withdrew from the transfer portal. So 9 players entered the portal. 8 players found a new team. 1 player, Myia Wild, withdrew. Interesting. So there I am interested to see what Komi McMiller does next year. Again, as I said, she is a talented player. She is. However, all the talk about winning doesn't totally make sense for Penn State. And so we'll leave it at that. You all can, again, read the article where Komi McMiller has that interview, and and make up your own mind about what you think about it. I don't think Penn State is going to do a ton of winning next year. I don't think that this is going to be like a massive transformation. Now, I could absolutely be wrong, and if I am wrong, I will absolutely own it because I am cool with being wrong. But what I do on this channel is I promise you, I will always tell you what I actually think. I will give you all as much information as I possibly can, and I will tell you what I actually think, and we'll see what happens. All right, we will see how it all kind of shakes out. I don't, but again, there is a disconnect that I just don't really understand. Okay. All right, so let's get to, I just want to get to a couple of y'all comments, and then we will move on. Eric says red flag vibes for the coach / Penn State. I haven't paid that much attention to Penn State this past year, so I'm not exactly sure. But I mean, clearly from the amount of people entering the transfer portal and their record, clearly they I don't know, something is awry there for sure. Grace by God says, I agree, Quita. It doesn't make sense, especially if she truly wants to win. She ended up at a program that's worse than the one she walked away from. Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. Shay says, come on, let's get to 200. Let's get the likes up. Yes, hit that like button. Hit that like button. That really does help the channel out a whole lot. Thank you. Nancy is saying, I hope the NCAA will start to limit those transfers every year. Eventually, something has to be done. Now, because here's the deal. No problem. If a player wants to transfer, I do think eventually there's going to have to be a cap. The idea possibly of a player in 4 years playing for 4 different schools, that's going to be a reality in the NCAA if no one does anything about it. All right. I think that there's going to have to eventually be some sort of cap or something. Now, again, maybe it's like you can transfer and play right away 2 times. Maybe it's 2 times you can transfer and play right away. And then if you want to transfer a third time, you have to wait a year. Maybe it's something like that, where you still are allowing players the flexibility to leave if truly it's a bad situation. But that way, at the end of 4 years, they're only possibly at a max playing at 3 schools instead of 4. You know, I think if we can limit that possibility from, instead of transferring at the end of every season and going to a brand new school the next year, if we can make it just 3 schools instead of 4, maybe that's a win. Maybe that's a win. But I think eventually something has to happen. Something has to happen, okay? Okay. All right. Let's continue on. Okay. So, from Komi McMiller to Flaw Johnson. Again, the theme of this stream is when players are speaking for themselves, making their voices heard. All right. Okay. Anyway. So, Flaw Johnson has said that she's coming back. We all kind of knew she was coming back in a way, but she said it again officially from her mouth that she's coming back. And when she said that she was coming back for her senior year, the question wasn't if she'd stay. The question was where. The question was where would Flaw go? Initially, when she said that she was not going to the WNBA, there was some question marks about, does Flaw Johnson leave South Carolina? There was some LSU. There was some portal rumors. Then also she had that cryptic Instagram post that ended up being like she's going on tour. And then Flaw Johnson made it official. Yes, I am coming back to LSU. But here's the thing. She did not make that call. She did not just make that call and move on. She talked about it. And, what she said is the real story that I want to get into. Now, Flaw Johnson, in her return to LSU, she made it clear that she wants to win. She wants to be a leader. And most importantly, Flaw Johnson wants to develop. She said, "This is my last year." Also, guys, I am referencing an interview that Flaw Johnson did with Front Office Sports, Annie Constable of Front Office Sports. And so that's where these quotes are from. Give me 1 second. Let me drop in the link to that article so you all can read it if you all want. But largely, this section is based off of that article. All right. I'm trying to do a better job of attributing what I say. But again, I just put a link in there. Flaw Johnson did an interview with Front Office Sports, and that's what this is about. Okay. Anyway, Flaw Johnson said, "This is my last year. I definitely want to win, but I want to make sure I'm being developed to be the player that I want to be in the WNBA. Trying to find out how I can make that happen this year. I want to be as prepared as possible." And for her, that meant sitting down with Kim Mulkey and laying it out. Flaw Johnson is not interested in just coasting. She's not interested in just vibing in Baton Rouge and continuing what she's been doing. She is locking in. And she even admitted that she wasn't ready to be that leader that she will be this upcoming year. She wasn't ready for that before. She said, it's going to be me allowing Coach Mulkey to coach the blank out of me. Just so everybody else falls in line, I'm going to have to be the one to take to take that to show an example. This is the standard here. I'm ready to do that. I wasn't ready to do that in my previous years. Now I know what it takes. So Flaw J is like, you know what? I wasn't ready before. I'm ready now. So Kim Mulkey, hit me with your best shot, basically. Hit me with your best shot. I am ready to do this. That's some self-awareness. That's maturity. It's leadership, in a Flaw J Johnson flair. Because here's the deal. Flaw J Johnson knows the type of player she wants to be. She knows. She is not confused about what she needs to do going into the WNBA. But right now, there is a difference in the role that she has been playing and the role that she feels like she eventually will need to play. The thing that was noted in the article was that, in high school, Flaw J Johnson ran the point. She controlled the tempo of the team and was the engine that kept the team running. At LSU, she's played mostly off ball. She is a scorer, not actually a floor general. But now she wants to build her basketball IQ. She wants to think through the game and sort of be that player who controls the tempo of the team. She wants to go back to orchestrating the offense, not just sort of riding shotgun and getting the basketball and making some stuff happen, right? And she made it very, very clear in the interview that she wants to be as prepared as possible for the WNBA. And the fact that she is dealing with shin inflammation, she's dealing with some sort of inflammation. I believe it's shin inflammation that she's been dealing with. She's waiting, as with many other players, are waiting on the 2026 WNBA CBA that could possibly double her rookie salary. So it makes a lot of sense that Flaw J Johnson wants to stay another year and check off more boxes. But this team that she returns to will not be the same team that she left, because 5 players for LSU hit the transfer portal. But Flaw J said it herself that a change was needed. LSU are bringing in new players, and Flaw J thinks that this new group, they have a potential to do something very, very special. This new group that's coming in for LSU, and Flaw J is embracing the opportunity and responsibility of being the one to set the tone. She said, "Just so everybody else falls in line, I'm ready to do that." Meaning she's ready to be that example. And she wasn't ready in previous years. Now I know what it takes. So this is going to be a different Flaw J Johnson, a smarter, tougher, more vocal Flaw J Johnson that hopefully for her can take LSU all the way back to the top, because Flaw J wants a championship. She wants another one. She already has one, but she wants another championship. And here's the deal, guys. I think this was, again, a smart decision. This is not Flaw J Johnson having blind loyalty for LSU. She's not just vibing with NIL. She's not just rapping her way through college. Flaw J Johnson is saying, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I know where I fall short. And I know, and because I know all this, I'm specifically being intentional with Kim Mulkey to ask her specifically, like, hey, I need you to really develop me. I need to work on these various things before I get to the WNBA. Instead of being reactionary and waiting until she's about to head into the WNBA and saying, now I need to develop. No, she's saying it now. She's like, you know what? This, and this, I need to work on. So I need you to help me do that. I need you to help me do that on the court. I think that's smart. That is very, very smart. And again, it makes sense to make it known to Kim Mulkey right now in the summer. So that way, the workout plans that Flaw Johnson is going to be working on, like individually, that can be customized to make sure that she is ready to, from what she's saying, if I'm interpreting that right, it seems like she wants to be a facilitator. She wants to be, a facilitator for this team, meaning she wants to play some point for this team. And if that's the case, she's going to have to work on some stuff. She's going to have to work on some stuff, because if LSU is going to return to a national championship, Flaw Johnson is going to have to be elite. Of course, we know she can score. I believe she averaged around 18 points a game this past year. Like, she can score, absolutely. But that sort of extra oomph is needed for her, for this team to actually make it to the next level. They're bringing in some new players. They still have, a position or two left on the roster that they can fill. And I'm pretty sure we'll probably hear about that pretty soon, about who is filling that roster spot. But yeah, I love this. I love this for Flage. I think this is great. She's saying, hey, she's telling everybody specifically how she feels and what she's what she needs to work on and whatnot. And I love it. I think it's great. I think it really is great. And again, sometimes development starts with demanding it, not just thinking that it's gonna come, right? And it feels like that's what Flage is doing. She's demanding further development into various things that she thinks specifically will help her make it in the WNBA. So I think that's great. I really do. I really do think that's great. What do you all have to say about this? High off Nay says, I've been saying it's time for Flage to start taking on that point guard role. Well, yeah, it seems like that's a thing. Seems like that is a thing. Cindy says, very mature decision on her part. Yeah. I think it's great. All right. Let's see. Chill says clean house is good. Kentucky Rick is bringing some chat rules. Says no caps lock or excessive emojis. No politics or controversial topics. I guess it depends on what's deemed controversial. Definitely no politics, please. Everybody feels like different stuff is controversial, so I don't know what's considered controversial for some people, but for the most part, I'm down with whatever. Just no, don't be too crazy. Says no name calling or profanity. Keep it basketball, please. Yes, keep it basketball. Most of all, let's have fun with Quita and the awesome people of the internet. Salute to you, Kentucky Rick. Salute to you. Salute to you. Salute to you. Tulip says you came back from Friday prayer. Keep my aunt in your thoughts. Chat did a CT scan yesterday. Well, Tulip, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Sorry to hear about your aunt. I will absolutely be praying for your aunt for sure. All right. Cherry says, it's crazy to think that these are really still just kids. No way I was that mature when I was that age. Facts. I mean, these players nowadays are growing up way faster than other college players. I mean, not than other college students at their same university. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think it's wild. It's wild. It is wild. All right. Okay. Anyway, let's continue on. Okay. Let's continue on. Let's continue on. Guys, I feel like I'm like on the Myia Full Wally beat right now. Like I'm just like, man. I feel like that's what all I've been talking about lately, and I'm hoping that she announces her place soon so I can say that and move on. But if y'all have been riding with this channel for the last couple of weeks, you already know how I broke down the Myia Full Wally situation already. Her shocking exit from South Carolina, the messy rumors, the way that she shut all of that down herself directly on TikTok. And if you missed the breakdown, you can watch the video I posted yesterday. But today I do have a bit of an update for you all. And it's an update that may make LSU fans very, very excited. So, just to catch you all up real quick, Myia Full Wally entered the transfer portal. Lots of rumors were around. Is she going to go to LSU? Is she going to go to UConn? Blah, 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 blah. You know, a whole bunch of stuff. Is it family pressure? Is it money? All this stuff. Then Myia Full Wally hops on TikTok, clears it up herself. She says, she basically said that she hadn't visited anywhere. It wasn't about the money. She didn't try to go back to South Carolina. Basically, she was saying, y'all don't know me like that. So let me tell my own story. And, makes sense. Makes sense that, she's like, hey, I'm gonna speak up for myself. I'm gonna say, well, y'all got certain stuff wrong. She didn't address every single thing, but she did address some stuff. But here is where it gets interesting, because at least I saw this yesterday. I think this was posted yesterday. At least I saw it yesterday. This is where things get a little bit interesting, because Myia Full Wally was spotted dancing on TikTok, and not just dancing, y'all. She was supposedly dancing to Louisiana bounce music. Now, here's the deal. I don't know. I've never been to Louisiana. I don't really know Louisiana bounce music, but the comments was saying that this is Louisiana bounce music that she's dancing to. And I was like, oh, okay. Interesting. She's dancing to some music, and supposedly it's Louisiana bounce. So is this an indicator? Is this an indicator that maybe this is just her way of kind of saying that LSU is the place to go? I don't know. Now, can players dance to whatever song they want? Absolutely. But it does make me wonder, like, are you trying to give us a message or something? If you're trying to make a subtle statement, about where you're headed, drop in some bounce music, and your TikTok feed is a move. It's definitely a move, and the internet noticed, and they noticed big time. And so we'll ultimately see if Myia Full Wally ends up going to LSU, or is Myia just trolling? Is she just trolling? Is she is she trolling the LSU fans? Was that what she doing? If she is trolling and she ends up picking a different school, that's going to be hilarious. Because here's the deal. There have been so many articles that I have read, including from reputable people, saying that it's almost a guarantee that Myia is going to LSU. So if this is Myia trolling, oh my God. Oh my goodness. I will be laughing so hard if this is a troll. I will be laughing so hard if she is just trolling LSU fans. All right, we got some super chats. Thank you so much. Brandon for the super chat says, Flaw Johnson has too much going on with music and the podcast show. She should drop them for her senior season. Why? Here's the deal. It's not. She's not. People who make music, from what I understand, it's not like they're not in the studio every single day. They're in the studio often, but they're not in the studio every single day. And here's the deal. Flaw Johnson came to LSU partly because Kim Mulkey said, "Hey, we will allow you to do your music and whatnot." And so why would she stop? Why would she give that up? Because there is 24 hours in a day, guys. Flage is, I assume, practice is probably around 3 hours. Maybe it takes up about 3 or 4 hours a day. 3 or 4 hours a day in practice, as well as probably some one-on-one workout or something like that. So like maybe 3 or 4 hours of that. Okay, and then you have maybe, depending on the day, you may have 3 or 4 hours of class. And then after that, you have, so that's basically an 8-hour day right there. Just practice and class. And then maybe you're doing like homework and whatnot for 2 hours after that. Because I'm pretty sure she's probably scheduled certain classes where it's like she doesn't have to do like a crazy amount of writing, and like, she probably has optimized the classes that she takes to allow her the ability to kind of do have more time outside of the classroom. So like maybe it's like 2-3 hours maybe on schoolwork after the class is over, and then it's 8 hours of sleep, and after that she still has a couple of hours to handle, like, and so maybe is it like once a week or something like that? Then she's focused on the podcast, and then maybe the other day she's focused on the her music and or some sort of sponsorship fulfillment. Like I don't know. I don't actually think that she has to stop. Now, if it gets to like a severe distraction, and the thing is, no one knows what's a distraction for these players because we don't know them. Like, that's the thing. Like, just because someone has a bad game does not mean they were distracted by whatever else they're doing outside of that sport, right? So I don't think she has to give up and drop anything. I really don't. Because here's the deal. We all do a whole bunch of stuff. Like, if y'all were aware of just all the stuff there's so much stuff I do in a day. So much, like, there's people who are like, how in the world can you have a full-time job and still do a morning show every morning? Compartmentalize. Get certain, like, you optimize your time. Get in the limited time you have, fully optimizing and ensuring that you are doing everything you possibly can. And also, Flaw Johnson is a millionaire. Multi-millionaire, likely. She has people working for her that will handle certain stuff so she doesn't have to do it. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of stuff that happens. There's a lot of stuff that happens in a day that people can do. And so I don't think that just because you play basketball, that's literally the only thing you can do, because everything else is a distraction. Because, like, playing basketball is Flage's job. And she also has a job as a podcast host. She also has a job as a musician, right? Just like you all probably have, a job doing something else, but you also do something else, but you also do something else. Like, like, people are dynamic people. So I don't know. That was a long while on your super chat. But again, I really do appreciate you, Brandon, for the super chat. I just slightly disagree. I just slightly disagree on her dropping her podcast and or her music. Now, if it comes down to, like, where Flage is saying this is a distraction, I'm gonna tone it down, or if like Kim Mulkey or somebody is saying that, If somebody is if Kim Mulkey or somebody within LSU who has more insight into specifically what Flaw is doing, if they say that she needs to drop one, okay, well then that's a little bit, that's someone closer to the situation that can actually like really say for sure, right? But us, you know, I can't, who's to say what she's doing in a day? I think she's doing just fine, managing all of it. So yeah. Anyway, let's continue on. Prime, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, come on down to the Bayou, Malaysia. Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see if she actually chooses the Bayou. All right, we're gonna see. Thank you so much, LSU Tiger 2, for the super chat. Says, good morning, Quita. I think we are going to find out today. There's a rumor that she will be on campus today. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing that. I didn't know that she was going to possibly be on campus today. Hey, I tell you that'll be pretty fun. That will be pretty fun. Okay, that'd be pretty fun. All right, so nothing as of this moment is official regarding Malaysia going to LSU. Nothing has been signed, sealed, and delivered. But if you're reading the signs, the TikTok, the timing, the needs on LSU's rosters, this may be happening. And if it does, well, the SEC is about to get more chaotic. It's about to be more of a rivalry between LSU and South Carolina. Do you ultimately, guys, think that Myia Wild is Baton Rouge bound? Or is she just trolling and having a good laugh on TikTok? Curious to hear what you all have to say. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know. Now, what we did just now was we just went through three different stories. Related to players. Because we are in a new era. It is not about waiting for someone else to tell your story. It's about players grabbing the mic, getting an interview, and standing on business, letting people know specifically what they think about what is going on with themselves. And we all can listen to it and then be the judge of it. Komi McMiller wants to prove herself on her terms and wants to win at Penn State. Flaw Johnson wants to be developed and set the tone for a new version of LSU. And Myia wants to control her own narrative, not let rumors tell her future. And honestly, guys, I am here for all of it because the best basketball stories are the ones that players write for themselves, and we can all listen to it and react to it. So, as someone who talks about women's basketball, I will try my best to always talk about what players are specifically saying in their own words, because I think it's awesome. And then we can listen to it and we can judge for ourselves, because players understand that they know how to spin stuff, right? It's not like every single thing they say is gold. But it is good to have their perspective on certain things, so that way, we kind of know and we can peep game and react, right? Like the Komi McMiller thing. Like, we heard it specifically what she said about winning and whatnot, but then we see the disconnect about Penn State. And so it's sort of like, now we know why she chose Penn State, but now we got some more questions, a little bit confusing. So maybe she'll address it in the future. Maybe she won't. But one thing's for sure is we'll definitely be looking next year. And if she's not winning at Penn State, we're going to be like, what the heck? What was that? Anyway, I thought this was a fun topic to cover. And so that's why I wanted to cover it. Okay. Nope. Where is it? There we go. Here we go. All right, guys, let's move on to the final topic of the day. It is one thing to hit the transfer portal. It is another thing to walk across the city right into the arms of your biggest rival. And that is exactly what London Jones have done. She left UCLA, a Final Four team, to join USC. And honestly, guys, no one saw this coming, especially I didn't. So let's break it down, why she left, and why USC. very odd, I would say. First, London Jones is a baller, right? She has been on UCLA for 3 seasons. She made the Pac-12 all-freshman team. She holds UCLA's single-season record for 3 points made in a season with 87 threes, I should say. She helped to lead UCLA to their first ever Final Four appearance. This past season, she averaged 8.5 points a game, 72 threes. She was a all Big Ten honorable mention player, and she carved out a real role for herself on the team. Now, she did start quite a bit of games. Now, I personally, as y'all have heard me say, I thought she was someone who would be a fantastic player off the bench to give a spark because of her shot selection. But, she was someone who gave UCLA a serious weapon. She was a floor spacer. And when she did come off the bench, she was a spark of energy for this team. But now she is walking her way from all of it, leaving UCLA and literally basically going right around the corner to USC. So why jump across town? Well, first, London is a Riverside kid. She wanted to leave UCLA, but she did not want to go far. She wanted to stay nearby. And what's more nearby than USC? Because staying close to home matters for her, especially sort of being from that area. And, for USC, even with Juju Watkins being out, they still have some talent on their roster, right? This is a team that won the Big Ten regular season title. They made it to the Elite Eight. They're bringing in Jazzy Davidson, the #1 recruit in the nation. Plus, they got some other players like Kara Dunn, who came from Georgia Tech as well. And Lindsey Gottlieb, made it personal a little bit. She said that, Lindsey Gottlieb started recruiting London back in the 8th grade. So this was not like a new relationship that London Jones and Lindsey Gottlieb had. No. They've known each other since London was in 8th grade. And she never stopped being a fan. Now, Lindsey Gottlieb is going to have an opportunity to coach London Jones. She called London a dynamic combo guard, not just someone who can shoot, but someone who can create off the bounce, make plays, and defend. In other words, Lindsey Gottlieb is letting us know that USC did not just get another shooter. They got someone experienced. They got a winning guard who is going to help steady the ship at USC after a boatload of turnover. But still, it's a little bit odd. Because truthfully, London's role at USC probably will not be very different than her role at UCLA. She's not walking, in my opinion, she's probably not walking into a starting role for USC. She might start occasionally, but she's not going to suddenly be the #1 or #2 scoring option on this team. She's a vet who is going to be asked to knock down threes, to defend smaller guards, and to steady the backcourt until Juju gets healthy. So same job for the most part. Different jerseys, different colors, different area of the city. So maybe this was just about comfort. Maybe it was about coaching. Maybe it was just about making a fresh start without actually having to leave Los Angeles. But whatever the reason is, it does add a shooter, a really, really good shooter to USC. And it brings just a little additional fire to that USC-UCLA crosstown game. I'm just saying, next year's crosstown showdown is going to be personal because the player who was rocking with the blue and white is now rocking the red and black. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Ultimately, yes, I am shocked by London Jones leaving UCLA to go to USC. Again, not shocked that she's really leaving UCLA, but shocked that she chose USC. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about her going to USC? Do you think it's a smart move? Do you think it's more of the same? Do you think she should have just gone somewhere else completely? Like maybe a Cal, for example. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know, guys, in the chat what you all think about the situation. But I just thought it was fascinating, and I was like, I have to talk about it. I have to talk about it. All right. Chill says, I didn't think she would leave. It's interesting for sure. It is definitely interesting. LL Cool Nay says, oh, I love your name, says London is too short and is not a consistent shooter. When she is on fire, she is great, but when she's not, she doesn't do much else. Yeah, and that's why I felt that London Jones should not have been starting as many games as she did for UCLA this past year. I believe I've said it in several streams where like Myia Barker should have been starting, in my opinion, and London Jones should have been coming off the bench. And so you started off with a very, very big lineup to start the game, and then you bring in her off the bench that can just drain threes. If the threes aren't dropping, okay, we'll take her out. Try again, in the next quarter or the next quarter or something like that. Like I think there is London Jones is an excellent 3-point shooter. Sometimes she does get a bit streaky, but to me, the best game I saw of London Jones this past year was against South Carolina. She came off the bench and was knocking down 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. Like, she could change the momentum. I just think that she is a spark off the bench, not necessarily a starter. Not necessarily a starter. At least this past year, I would say. All right. Molly says UConn shut Jones down. Well, yeah. Yep. Majestic Mike says, I'm pretty sure Jones will not start. Yeah, I don't think she will, but I mean, who knows? Who knows? Tulip says UCLA is cooked, lost 90% of their team. They didn't though. Tulip, they didn't lose 90% of their team. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. But they didn't lose 90% of their team. This is a team that has brought back a lot of players, They brought back a lot of players. And the players that they lost are important, but not like crazy like end all be all. They lost 6 players. So like significant, but not 90%. And I'm pretty sure you're like probably joking about that number. But here's the deal. UCLA will still be fine. Because they got the best player in college basketball on their team. And her name is Lauren Betts. And Lauren Betts' sister is joining as well. You got Kiki Rice, who's going to have another year under her belt. And like this is not going to be like they didn't lose, like they lost players. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. They lost players. But in my opinion, Myia Barker was not put in a position to succeed at UCLA. So like, yes, you had Myia Barker, but I didn't think UCLA took advantage of like the type of player Myia Barker really is. I don't think they did that. I don't think Corey Close used Myia in the way that she should have been used. Like I really don't. Like I think that it did not. You did not see the as much benefit as you would have gotten, as you should have seen from Myia Barker. That's one. London Jones, again, a great player. I just don't think that she was put in positions to succeed because, again, I don't think she was a starter. I don't. I think she played way too many minutes at times. When she is someone who, in spurts, can knock down threes like crazy. LL Kune says UCLA is only focused on the Betts sisters. That's why everybody left. I mean, they are focused on them. They are. They absolutely are focused on the Betts sisters. And that's a bet that Corey Close is like, you know what? That's what we're doing. It's Lauren or bust. It's Lauren or bust. All right. But anyway, guys, I gotta go. I will see y'all later. Again, I do want to just say thank you for rocking out with me. This has been an awesome birthday week. So I appreciate y'all for the support, for the love. And y'all, just make sure y'all have a great day. Have a great day. Be respectful to people. Be kind to people. Tell somebody that they matter, because they absolutely do. And if no one has told you, you matter, you do. You matter, you're important. And I'm happy, very, very happy that you are on this earth, guys. Have a great day. And rock out, y'all. Rock out, y'all. And I will see y'all in the next one. Love you guys. And next time y'all see Princess and Mr. President, they're going to have a haircut, because they are at the groomers as we speak. And I love it. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.